Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. So, I did say I was gonna do a part two to this, so continued. Obviously, I have to do some editing to the description box because I gotta add Tone Talk's video again. He did post it last night. So with the edits, we're gonna skip over the part where the lady calls in and she goes in about the loyalty part. That's really enticing, but we're gonna skip over that. We're gonna focus on other things, right? um and I want to start off with one of the clips that Tone said, and we're gonna take this a little slow. I don't have any notes, so we're gonna kind of freestyle this a bit, right? And well, let's get to it. Let's get to the first point, and hopefully you guys can hear this. Y'all already know shoestring budget, right? So y'all already know, or bubblegum budget, right? So here we go, everyone. It's now 40% more expensive to be single and dating than it was a decade ago. 40% more than a decade ago. King's situation is one that many singles across the U.S. can relate to. This year, inflation hit a 40-year high, a reality that singles who don't get the tax breaks available to married people or the benefits of two-income homes are feeling. According to the 2022 Match Singles in America report released this week, the top three stressors for singles right now are all related to finance: the impact of inflation, the state of the economy, and their long-term financial futures. This was true for all generations except Gen Z, which reported being primarily stressed by mental health. In Match's 12th annual report, researchers surveyed 5,000 single people between the ages of 18 and 98 across the U.S. and found that they are spending $117 billion on dating every year. That breaks down to about $130 each month, not each day, each month. So when you're watching these young women and they're talking about a cheap date, people are spending $130 each month, and they used to spend $60. And that's white folk. That's including the white folk. Okay. That breaks down to about $130 each month, or $1,500 each year. So when he takes you out to this park, you gonna call it roadkill because he's actually doing the normal thing that normal people do in America when they date during economic collapse. You out here looking for unicorns and fairy tales and rainbows. The discussion. Yep. So y'all heard that. So when Mr. Z says these people aren't looking for stability, they're not looking for, a good, just a good man, a good black man, right? A kind, good, loving black man, that offers stability. When Mr. Z says that, it sounds hyperbolic until we start doing the numbers. I said they were lying. I said they were gaslighting. If your average man, white man, is spending $130 a month, let's say it's 150, let's say it's 200. We can scale that number. Let's say it's even $200 a month. That's $50 a week, give or take, on dates. That's not what these ladies are talking about. These $250 dates, $350 plus dates. Right? So, and we understand that now it's 40% more expensive to date than it was for boomers. And once again, as Tone was saying, going through this kind of economic time, and yet you have, I'm not putting words in Tone's mouth. He didn't say this part, but Mr. Z is saying this part. You have women, as I said, and as I said to Tone Talks, living through Armageddon, right? Living through Armageddon, demanding a particular lifestyle, telling you what they're not going to settle for, while they're calling into the middle-aged man show, Kevin Samuels, because they're desperate. They just are refusing to acknowledge the reason why you're even calling into Kevin's show in the middle of COVID-19 is because you're desperate. It's because you feel insecure. It's because you're financially unstable. That's why you're calling into his show. And then you're demanding not stability,
But opulence and extravagance, and to be kept, and to live a life of luxury while you're desperate. And then for all you thrillers and divestors, you liars, to try to gaslight black men with, well, these men, they provide like this and they do like that, and why are black women always the ones told to settle? Meanwhile, y'all dating the white dude, and if you're lucky, 130. So let's, the closest number to that, 120. 120 divided by 4. So what does that mean? He's spending what, $40 a week on dates? And these are the same people. A coffee date is just not, it's not acceptable. The white dude you keep on trying to throw in black men's faces is spending $40 a week on dates. So really, that's about $20 in the car. That's a coffee date. Oh, wait a minute. So Brad could smash for the coffee date, but Tyrone got to make up for his blackness. I told you I'd be taxed. They tax us with the black tax. Uh-oh. $20 in the car for gas. $10 or so per coffee. Really a couple of dollars less, but let's say $10 or so. That's a coffee date. Somebody been lying. Right? And shout out to Tone Talks for that. Right? $130 a month. Right? Even if we scale up to 140, 150, 160, 200, if we scale up to 200, he's still only spending $50 a week on dates. Terrell said that's a box of Trojans and 2 cups of coffee. Somebody's been lying. This is why the data and the information is important, because we knew they were lying. We knew they were attempting to gaslight us with these, right, mythical, magical, omnipotent, omniscient white men. Right? And here's the next clip. Here we go. Let me know. One in the chat if y'all can hear it when it plays.
The discussion that a mature 40-something-year-old woman should be having, especially one born of privilege, not born of chaosness and completion like myself or like other people that had access to opportunities that other people didn't have. We don't need to hear verses from you. You don't fully realize how big this problem is. Black men continue to have the highest unemployment rate, costing the U.S. $50 billion a year. The number of unemployed blacks in the U.S. has grown so much that it's costing communities $50 billion in income every year, a study published last week revealed. The study found that there's an employment gap of about 1.4 million jobs between black men and their Asian, Hispanic, and white counterparts. Black men are absent from hundreds of thousands of jobs, in part because they have a higher rate of being in prison, being killed, or simply being looked over for positions because of their race. Algorithm Austin, who authored the study published by the Center for Economic and Policy Research, so we are going to punish black men for the oppression they feel from race by calling them names as they date and try to meet standards that they never should have been trying to meet, while other people paying $130 a month for dating. In the middle of a massive economic collapse. And then you ask people, like, do you know about the car market? No, I don't follow that. I don't watch news. It stresses me out. Do you know about the housing interest? No, I don't really think about that. So how are you talking about the market?
So, in other words, Tone is saying what Mr. Z has said, what other people in the black manosphere have said. So y'all don't watch news, you don't know what's going on around the world, you don't know what's going on in the country, you don't know any of that, but you know black men ain't issue. That much you do know, right? You know black men ain't issue. That much you do know. Number one. Number two, what Tone doesn't say is that, you know, certain black women on social media thought it was funny that black men are costing this society some $50 billion because this country would rather spend $50 billion locking black men up and making them the reserve pool of labor than actually doing for black men and elevating them and having them help to elevate this society and elevate America, right? And y'all said, check my sound. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, everyone. And hopefully you guys can hear me better now. Hopefully you guys can hear me better now. But yeah, so that's and thank you, Big Cat, for the super chat, right? So we had, as I said before, we have black women that get off on seeing black men's misfortune. They dance on that. It's funny to them, right? It's funny to them seeing black men's misfortune, even if black men's misfortune leads to black women's misfortune, because we're attached by the hip, much to these people's chagrin. As much as they've been trying to detach us for the past 40, 50 years, that's been a failed attempt. Great job, not. Right? But also the black tax. So these people are spending, these white men, non-black men, Latino men, white men, Asian men, but white men, spending $130 a month on dates, and yet what we're getting from black women is this idea of extravagant, elaborate dating. Right? The black tax. The black tax. Right? As other men start to pinch pennies, there's another part that Tone says, now in these certain economic times, what is being seen as attractive is a person, a partner, a potential partner that's a bit more frugal. Train tracks. Say that to all of these weirdo women online, particularly black women. All the hypergamy level up of black women, say that to them. Because according to these women, why are black women always the ones told to settle? Non-black women aren't told to settle. Y'all don't be saying that to no other, y'all don't say that to white women. White men would never say that to white women. White men would never say that to white women. Tyler Perry, tell black men to step up, according to black women. Right? According to black women online, on these interwebs, other women aren't told to settle. Meanwhile, other non-black women are finding men, right? Other non-black women are finding men that are becoming a little bit more frugal and know how to budget. They're finding those men more appealing and more attractive. Shh, but don't tell black women that. Can't mess up their gaslighting technique. Their lying ass technique. Horrible lie, by the way. Dear black women, it's something called data. It's something called reading and research. It's something called black men work with non-black men. When I say the internet will expose us all, I mean, right? And so, if this is the environment and we know it, then what are these people talking about? And yes, it does affect your society. Yes, it does affect the black community. The reason why we cover this weirdo talk about relationships and intimacy and sex and who's doing what and loyalty and black men not building, and because if the dominant narrative in the black community is what black men are lacking and what black men aren't doing for black women and how black men are falling short on purpose, right? Either it's their ineptitude, right, or their inability or their laziness that's causing them not to put black women and by extension black children in a better position. Meanwhile, like the article said, because of the researcher, the people that know what they're talking about, not just bitter, angry people that are mad about who didn't want them in high school. What the researchers are saying is, yeah, racism is what's costing black men, the black community, and America $50 billion a year. Racism. Anti-blackness. Not their ineptitude, not black girl magic that caused black women to elevate above black men, not black women's stick-to-itness. No. Specific, targeted anti-blackness and racism. Your little hurt feelings about who didn't want you in high school and who didn't find you attractive in high school, be damned. Right? And now what? And now what? These people are liars, everyone. These people are liars. They're liars and gaslighters. Right? And once again, thank you for the super chat. For letting me know, to check my mic. Thank you very much, Big Kev. And once again, shout out to Tone for, bringing the numbers and kind of grounding the conversation. These people don't have any way to respond to this. They can't. And they never will. That's why they don't call in. That's why Paris and Yanni and Chrissy, they do not call into these different people's channels. They don't. You're going to have to defend this delusional talk. Lexus Exodus and Mahogany, well, Mahogany Pink is MIA. Cynthia G will go on Fox Soul where she won't be challenged. She'll go on Fox Soul with Dr. Umar Johnson so Dr. Umar Johnson can sister her to death and my beautiful black queen to death and say he forgive her even when she didn't ask for forgiveness. He'll do that. And she'll go on and she'll go on Fox Soul because she know what she's getting. Right? Y'all don't remember the one time the weirdo black woman called into Yvette Carnell's show and said, "Oh, black men go to prison on pretty much on purpose. They looking for what she said, 3 meals, a hot and a cock, something like that." And Yvette was just like, "Oh my God, this is happening. This lady is off her rocker." Yes, Yvette Carnell, yes she is. But that's what black men are. Straight black men are out here dating, right? Yes, these people are real. Yes, they are. Right? So while white men and Latino men and Asian men tighten up their belt, okay, hey, these financial situations, we don't know what this is going to look like. Black women are out here demanding $250 dates. A date. Right? And then deeming you dusty if that's not at the base. And then try to gaslight you with these mythical, magical, omniscient, omnipotent white men that are spending $130 a month on dates. Huh. Oh, by the way, in the middle of this greedflation, stagflation, when we have billionaires, and I finally understood what Tone Talks was saying. He wasn't talking about Tyler Perry being the one telling you what this environment is going to look like. He was talking about the billionaire from Australia, and he's not a billionaire yet. So I don't know. So I don't think he's a billionaire. Last time I checked, I think the man is worth 500 and something $1 million. Either way, that's sentiment from the controllers of this society. I get what Tony is saying. The overall message, it didn't, I didn't miss it. Well, now that I have clarification, what he's saying is this guy, this mover and shaker, is saying, yeah, we're targeting the quote unquote least of you now, but the rest of you will get it later. Right? Meanwhile, we have certain black women dancing on the misfortune of black men. Right? And exactly. And Codebreaker says the Australian dude telling you his true thoughts. Exactly. Exactly. So how are you supposed? Okay, how are you supposed to form a community if you can't form families? You can't form families because one of us, XX chromosome, black, is beyond delusional, like strain jacket delusional. And incensed at the world that the world won't bend to its will. Right? Tone goes on to speak about nepo babies and the ones 38%, so 40% of young people buying homes under the age of 30, it's some type of gift from their parents or grandparents or some type of family member that's getting them over the finish line. Financial gift. I mean, mom and dad and papa and mama is coming with that check. And in that environment, we have these young black women, middle-aged black women, speaking about what they won't settle for. When I called into Tone and I spoke to him about the dating divide and what Dr. Jennifer Lundquist and Dr. Chantal Bugg's findings were, and he said, yeah, and I didn't mention Dr. Chantal Bugs, but he was like, well, she probably doesn't know it, but what they're really dating is legacy. Dear black women, in other words, you are attempting to date the slave master. Ooh, did you say that, Mr. Z? I said it and I meant it. I said it and I meant it. What you're really saying is I'm attempting to date and potentially marry the people or the descendant of the people that slaughtered, murdered, raped, killed, stole, pillaged my ancestors, whether that be on the continent, whether that be in the Caribbean, and definitely, obviously, America. Right? Meanwhile, I claim moral high ground above black men. Okay, yeah, that's it. Right? Right? These are the people that say you want to be white. Okay, yeah, that's it. These are the people that say you're the white supremacist of the black community. All right. Right? Because they think throwing in a black man's face the fact that incarcerating black men and making them the reserve pool of labor. They think making fun of that and mocking black men, that's not racist, that's not anti-black, that's not white supremacist, right? Oh no. Nope. Not at all. Right? Huh. And what these people say is considered above board in the black community. No one questions it. These are the people that Steve Harvey tells you, it's your job to do for them. It's your job to get some wife and some kids. And yeah, these people who talk and think and move like this, who are comparing you to white men who are spending $130 a month on dates, but then they're trying to gaslight you as if these white men are spending $250 a date on dates, $300 a date on dates. When I said the internet will expose us all, I mean, right? These people insult your intelligence because they don't think you have any. They truly think you're mouth-breathing idiots, black men. Yes, there are black women who think black men are mouth-breathing idiots, and they can lie to you and try to gaslight you with these omnipotent, omniscient, non-black men, namely white men, who are spending some type of crazy money to woo women. Meanwhile, your average white man is spending some 130, and I'm saying, let's say that number is off. It's $200. Still $200 a month on dates, which is $50 a week. Right? So Tone goes on to say, and let's play this.
And what I say is that the point is, you're both going to be collapsed. The billionaire just told us, I just hope you're ready to be humble when it's your turn. They just focused on black men. That ain't mean they finished with them. And so I come to you and ask you today, what do you do when you asking somebody else cannot just pay the light bill?
See, that's the part they don't say. So, as I said before, I had it wrong last night when I thought Tone Talks was saying that Tyler Perry was the one who was saying, are you prepared for this upcoming environment? No, he's saying the Australian, I guess, developers is the one who was saying that. Number one, but number two, as Tone Talk said, what happens when you are the one who's in need? But black women are still women, and they still reserve the right to be in need, and you as a man, it's your job to do for them. Right? It's your job to do for them. So if it's different, if a black man's in need, you're a bum. A black woman in need, well, duh. And what type of loser black man sees a black woman in need and not do anything for her? Right? And that's all. And Chief Ruckus says, Z, negative. White men my age, and let me actually read the whole thing. I'm Chief Ruckus says, I'm a Gen X, Z. Negative. White men my age are spending that on car parts, cigars, and good scotch. And there you go. Because black women think white men aren't fed up too. The biggest lie, and this lets you, please, you know what? You know what? We're just going to keep on watching white men embarrass black women on social media and eventually in person. because they think white men aren't fed up with the dating scene too, as if white men are like not the OGs of passport bros. Understand what white men are saying, dear black women. White men said, not only am I not going to date white women in America, I'm not even going to fly to Europe or Canada. Not only am I not going to try to fly to Europe or Canada, I'm not going to attempt to date white worshiping Asian women in America. Not only am I not going to try to date white worshiping Asian women in America, and that's both South and East Asian women, I'm not even going to attempt to date indigenous women. Not only am I not going to try to date indigenous women, I'm not even going to try to date black women who I know put me on a pedestal above black men. I would rather spend a good fair amount on a ticket and travel to Southeast Asia to Thailand, to Laos and Cambodia, and spend hotel money, ticket money, passport money if I don't have one already, and go get my rocks off for a week or two, if I got it like that, a month, and come back and do it again in 6 months. And you think those same white men who decided to spend how much money, how many thousands of dollars to go live out their sexual fantasies halfway around the world, across the world, are going to treat you better than a black man would? Okay, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And now, I'll just call him a billionaire. He's not a billionaire. He's worth, last time I checked, he's like worth like 500 and something million. But okay, whatever. As Tone said, the Australian billionaire guy just told you, prepare thyself. Right? Trell, I mean, why you BSing? Yes, actually, and thank you, better you demi billionaire, right? And Trell Bentley says white guys think Thai ladyboys are more feminine, and that's telling. That's telling, right? In other words, white men are saying Thai ladyboys halfway around the world, halfway across the planet, are more feminine than westernized American women, white, black, Latina, Asian, or otherwise. Right? Which one of those hangovers was it? Was it 2 or 3? Y'all already know this. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. So I came in you? No, I came in you. No, we came together. Ah, right? Ugh. I didn't have breakfast yet. About to say I threw up my breakfast in my mouth, but I didn't have breakfast yet. Oh, right. And so now that we're having a more accurate picture of what's going on in this society, what's going on economically for people, what people are spending on dates, right? Make it a whole lot more difficult. But first of all, the particular content creators that Mr. Z mentions, first of all, they don't listen to Tone. And if they do, they're just going to continue because they know their subscribers don't listen to Tone Talks. It was never about the facts. Shout out to Chris Rock. It's about distance and irritation. It's debate bro tactics. Right? It's about bombarding the space with all type of quote unquote alternative facts. And that way we're so busy trying to shoot that one down and shoot that one down and shoot that one down. Right? All they have are lies. And here goes the last clip. Let's play this.
In 2017, the U.S. Census Bureau released the data on the 2016 household income showing that the median income for white households was $61,000, with the median income of blacks being at $38,000. The understand it's been flat like that for like decades. So you basically don't have no money. Household income, not individual. It's not playing the blame games to Cavani Cox, but recognizing structural inequality. Kari Osborne, a 26-year-old graduate student at Aurora University, says being both a black woman and a broke millennial can make dating harder. I'll date black men, white men, whatever, but if I'm dating white males, the response is different. The area I'm close to has a lot of money, and my dates are expected to rise to that too. If I don't fit that mold right now because I'm broke, the relationship doesn't end up progressing. Some black millennials may have a different struggle. I feel like I can't date right now because funds aren't coming in. Anthony Pereira, a 23-year-old master's student at Binghamton University in New York. It deters me from approaching them because if I don't have money, what can I offer besides conversation? And then you don't have no lineage. Then you don't have no lineage. So you compete against white lineage and don't even know it because nobody taught you the way that Tone Talk tried to teach you, but then you want to watch other shows that don't talk about this real. It's not playing the blame games to come.
And there you go. So we're not even going to cover the fact that the black young lady said, I date white, black, whatever, as a broke woman, because we know you're dating the white man as a broke black woman, because the goal is to use him as the come up. We're not even going to really focus on that. But the fact of them acknowledging, and these are women that's acknowledging that they don't got it like that. But they expect you to have it like that. Magically, somehow. Right? And they're dating lineage now. Well, they've been dating lineage, quite frankly. Let's be very clear. So when Mr. Z says, either date same sex, or lobby the U.S. government to make polygamy legal, well, there go the polygamy part. If the goal is to be with the richest man humanly possible, and if you choose not to lift a finger, he can make that happen for you, right? If you want to work, you work. If you don't want to work, then he can definitely facilitate that for you. Then lobby the U.S. government to make polygamy legal, and have Diddy have a who wants to be part of my 20-wife brigade, right? And have Diddy have one, and Jay-Z have one, and Dr. Dre have one, and I guess, Jeff Bezos doesn't really look like he's into black women, neither does Bill Gates, but I guess. And they could have, which one of y'all want to be part of my 50-wife, harem. And that's pretty much what Mr. Z is saying. Share, date out, or eat the box. Yeah, Warren Buffett, name them. The Google guys, Mark Zuckerberg. Y'all don't even find Mark Zuckerberg ugly, but y'all will do it for the money. Excuse me. Let me say that different. Y'all find Mark Zuckerberg ugly. Y'all don't even find him attractive, but y'all do it for the money. Even though he been working out, I see Mark Zuckerberg. Y'all will still be with him for the money and throw up in your mouth afterward. Right? And no placer, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you, no placeholder for the super sticker. So we know what this is now, and shout out to Tone for this. We need this. This helps to emancipate black men. This also helps to have black men stop comparing themselves to black women's gaslighting technique of using these omniscient, omnipotent, magical, mystical, right, white men, and somehow they're paying for this and they're paying for that and they're doing this and they're doing that, and no, they're not. The way y'all talk, y'all letting Brad smash for free. As a matter of fact, y'all paying Brad, right? And this, I want to play this clip again because I want to go over something. I feel like I'm missing something. Let's play this clip one more again.
The discussion that a mature 40-something-year-old woman should be having, especially one born of privilege, not born of ADOSness and completion like myself or like other people that had access to opportunities that other people didn't have. We don't need to hear words or verses from you. You don't fully realize how big this problem is. Black men continue to have the highest unemployment rate, costing the U.S. $50 billion a year. The number of unemployed black men in the U.S. has grown so much that it's costing communities $50 billion in income every year, a study published last week revealed. The study found that there's an employment gap of about 1.4 million jobs between black men and their Asian, Hispanic, and white counterparts. Black men are absent from hundreds of thousands of jobs, in part because they have a higher rate of being in prison, being killed, or simply being looked over for positions because of their race. Algorithm Austin, who authored the study published by the Center for Economic and Policy Research. So we are going to punish black men for the oppression they feel from race by calling them names as they date and try to meet standards that they never should have been trying to meet, while other people paying $130 a month for dating. In the middle of a massive economic collapse. And then you ask people, hey, do you know about the car market? No, I don't follow that. I don't watch news. It stresses me out. Do you know about the housing interest? No, I don't really think about that. So how are you talking about the market? And what I say is that the point is, y'all both gonna be collapsed. The billionaire just told us.
So in other words, driving that point home, excuse me, and y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. We're making fun of black men. We're mocking black men for their inability to provide on the same level as white men, but we're even lying about what white men are providing, especially dating wise, at least, right? What they're spending dating wise. We're mocking black men. We're making fun of them for costing this society, the black community, $50 billion a year. So we're laughing at black men for what white supremacy and anti-blackness is doing to them. By the words of the researcher, not these little bitter, angry black women on social media. We're mocking black men. And then we compare them to white men, but not really. Because we're not actually comparing them to white men, because white men are not providing what these liar ass gaslighting black women are speaking about. Right? So this is where we are in the dating scene, because we're really trying to not feel that financial struggle. And instead of trying to maintain by ending up with each other so that that gap doesn't grow even larger, we rather quote unquote do bad all by ourselves. Ain't that right, XX chromosome black? And you better be careful what you wish for, because you're gonna be doing bad all by yourself. I said it before. When that Telluride goes from $45,000 vehicle to a $70,000 vehicle to a $65,000 vehicle, if you think you're screaming now, right? If you think you're screaming now, dear black women, when white society starts to hyperinflate that trip to the Bahamas, that trip to Cancun, that should cost $1,500, $1,000 if you don't go too crazy. When that trip starts to cost $2,500 and $3,000 because they can afford it, now what? When that trip to Britain goes from $4,000 and $5,000 to $8,000 and $9,000 and $10,000, now what? Uh-oh. When that trip to Dubai goes from $3,000 to $7,000 and $8,000, now what? Thank you, code breakers. White boomers will transfer $87 trillion of wealth to their kids. It's not even a conversation. And they're transferring 16,000 within this decade alone. Within this decade alone, they're transferring $16 trillion to their millennial children. And black women are telling you, their younger black women are doing their own version of I can do battle by myself. Okay. Right. Black women should be, in a well-ordered society, black women would be marching up and down the streets in DC, threatening not to vote and actually not voting for politicians, either white, black, or otherwise, who are not putting black men in position. In a well-ordered society, blowing up the phone of all of their local representatives. In a well-ordered society, getting rid of damn near every school board member. In a well-ordered society, right? But no, black men are not trying. And I always have the escape hatch of ending up with a non-black man or another woman, right? And so there you go. Oh, and I can always lean on my network. I saw that video of the woman who just openly admitted, yeah, I don't want to be married. I don't want to feel obligated. It's the same thing they were saying in the 80s. The young lady said it. I saw that video too. And then you want to know why you got 42-year-old black women living at home with their mother and their grandmother, and it's not even a topic of conversation in the black community. We don't shame them. We don't look at them weird. We don't make fun of them. Let a 33-year-old black man live at home with his parents, and y'all don't see if he's not being made fun of and ill and grow up and let your balls drop in, etc., etc. Meanwhile, we have whole master's degree educated black women. And I'm not saying, quite frankly, Mr. Z don't even think that's the end of the world. But if we're gonna do the Americana thing, And if we're gonna make fun of and mock black men for being 28 and 30 and 32 years old and living at home, then how is it that we're not saying anything to this 42-year-old black woman? Right? So we're mocking black men for white supremacist oppression. Let's be very clear, and this is specifically for ADOS community. We're mocking mainly ADOS black men for the fact that white supremacist society said we're going to lock you up so that we can make space for immigrants. Ooh, and their children. Yikes. And black women didn't threaten violence on politicians for that. Black women saw that happen over the past 40 years and essentially said nothing. Black women watched as white society locked black men up and made black men not only the permanent underclass, but the permanent reserve pool of labor, move them off the board to bring in not just black immigrants, but Latino and South Asian and East Asian and Eastern European immigrants to fill in all the slots from the very bottom to the very top. And black women said nothing. They turned around to black men and beat up on black men. They turned around to black men and told black men what black men aren't doing. And why does Becky get to have nice stuff and I don't? And why does Mei Ling get to have nice stuff and I don't? And why does Consuela get to have nice stuff and I don't? Here's the kicker: the average Becky don't got the nice stuff like that, and the average Consuela don't neither, and the average Mei Ling maybe just a smidge possibly. But okay, let's say you're right. They fight for their women and you don't. Excuse me, they fight for their men and you don't. They fight for their men and you don't. And as the young lady said, and she's more middle aged, but as the young lady said that called in a tone, their fear is that they're gonna fight for you and then you're gonna leave them for white women. Mind you, remember, these are supposed to be the people, the captains of justice, right? They're supposed to have the moral high ground. Meanwhile, Kim Foster told you, I ain't marching and protesting for none of you Negroes until you do right by black women, like we're goddamn in the middle of the Color Purple movie. And Palencia says, correction, black people said nothing, right? Hmm. And then these people turn around and complain about the dating scene, right? The lack of eligible candidates. One of them said one time a few years ago, suitable suitors. Not enough suitable suitors in the black community for black women, right? Not enough suitable suitors for black women. So let's go through this. Aborting some 20 million plus black children over the past 40 or so years. Then not fighting for black men and putting them in position. So you allow the Latino community to have a larger population than the black community, and you don't fight for the black men that are the black boys that were born that are now black men to be in position so that you can have that lifestyle, or better yet, your daughters can have that lifestyle that you've been saying you demand since what, the late 70s, early 80s, right? Oh yeah, better you, exactly. There's piss in the dating pool. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that part too. Huh. So complaining about the dating scene when you've done nothing to help to water that grass. Because all of y'all are running around here deathly afraid that you're going to be Angela Bassett in Waiting to Excel. So ain't no point in watering the grass. I'll just jump to the other side. And white men got nothing but hard D and bubblegum, and they all done with the bubblegum. We ain't even gonna mention the Latinos. And we definitely ain't gonna mention the Asians. That's a non-starter. Right? So you lean on your networks. You lean on the off chance that a man might get some pussy or he feels like he will. So he goes out of his way to do for you because you bat an eyelash or you show a little thigh, right? And this is your way of making up for not having a man in your life, a black man in your life, right? Hmm. Remember, these are the people that claim moral high ground above you, dear black men. Huh. And here we go. Play this.
It's now 40% more expensive to be single and dating than it was a decade ago. 40% more than a decade ago. King's situation is one that many singles across the U.S. can relate to. This year, inflation hit a 40-year high, a reality that singles who don't get the tax breaks available to married people or the benefits of two-income homes are feeling. According to the 2022 Match Singles in America report released this week, the top three stressors for singles right now are all related to finances: the impact of inflation, the state of the economy, and their long-term financial futures. This was true for all generations except Gen Z, which reported being primarily stressed by mental health. In Match's 12th annual report, researchers surveyed 5,000 single people between the ages of 18 and 98 across the U.S. and found that they are spending $117 billion on dating every year. That breaks down to about $130 each month, not each day, each month. So when you're watching these young women and they're talking about a cheap date, people are spending $130 each month and they used to spend $60. And that's white folk. That's including the white folk. Okay. That breaks down to about $130 each month or $1,500 each year. So when he takes you out to this park, you gonna call it roadkill because he's actually doing the normal thing that normal people do in America when they date during economic collapse. You out here looking for unicorns and fairy tales and rainbows. The discussion.
Yep. That right there summed it all up right there. That right there summed up everything. The lies, the gaslighting techniques, what's actually happening, what non-black men are actually spending on dates on average, $1,500 a year. Not on a date, shout out to Paris Milan, but $1,500 a year. Yeah. And as Tone said, so when a brother takes you out to a park, y'all get some lunch, right? All that, this is loser stuff, and a coffee date is unacceptable. Non-black women aren't told to settle. Why do black women always got to be told to settle? Lies. This is what it really looks like. 40% inflation. And these people are talking about hypergamy. They jump right over stability and start talking hypergamy. And to those, I say you will get neither. Have fun though. Hmm. Have fun though. I say you get neither. I say many of you spend the rest of your life buzzing your click to death. So there ain't no goddamn more sensation. You don't end up with another woman. You don't end up with a mythical magical white man, and you don't end up with the baller ass chisel chin Tyrone either. Right? I say that's what many of you go through. Because this is not even speaking about personality. This is not speaking about character. This is not speaking about whether she's kind or any of that. This is just looking at the numbers. This is looking at some of the research. This is looking at what men are spending $130 a month. Y'all were lying. And as I said, even if it's 200, let's say it's 250 a month. Even if it was $300 a month, that still would be $75 a week. That's not $300 a date. That would still be $75 a week, $300 a month on dates. But let black women tell it. Non-black men, that's white men, that's Latino men, that's Asian men, will easily spend 350 on a date, 300 on a date, 250 on a date. Right? And the reason why we cover stories like this, number one, for all of you young brothers under the age of 30, definitely under the age of 25, they're lying. Even if there is one random well-to-do Brad who spends $35,000 on an engagement ring, that's the 0.1% of white dudes. Right? That's number one. Number two, they're lying again. These and we knew it already. We already seen the black girl try to put on Twitter and say, "Oh, white men spend this type of money when they go on dates." Da, da, da. And white men descended on in her comments like, "Oh, who you talking about? Not us, or any of our friends." How embarrassing is that? You try to front on black men with these mythical, magical white men, and those same white men turn around and say, "Who you talking about? Not us. We don't do that." Right? And I'll definitely make this comment that I said last night, right? And I said that last night, or did I say that another day, maybe a day before? Dear black women, black men can't be your reparations. Not in that way. And quite frankly, black men can't be your reparations because you ain't fight for your boys. You didn't fight for your boys so that your daughters could be in a better position because they marry upperly mobile black men. Do we have upperly mobile black men? Yes. Is there enough? No. Why? Because the mother is meh. Now your daughter's of age and they're screaming. Black men, the most egalitarian, y'all done screwed that up. Most open, right? Like Charles Faulkner Jr. says, the garbage men in the dating world, y'all done screwed that up. The most hands-on father, y'all done screwed that up. Huh. And no placeholder, thank you for the super chat. And no placeholder says 300 if he only goes on 4 dates a year. Unlikely, right? Huh. So on that note, about to close out. I had to come to you guys this morning with this. Y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Um, part two, right? And I'll link the once again the original Tone Talks stream, and I think all of you should check it out. It's he goes through some of these things. There's other things I didn't cover necessarily, that I think many of us need to hear, especially you under 30-year olds, under 30, excuse me, under 25-year olds, definitely Gen Z. Gen Z, don't make the mistake us millennials and Gen X and boomers did, right? I would much rather you be a bit more skeptical than go through red pill rage, right? And I think this is Paradox. And Paradox from Codebreaker says there is 50 million white. Let me see. There is 50 million white people who are under the poverty line, living on benefits and completely out of the workforce. If I'm not mistaken, is it West Virginia or Kentucky that has the highest rate of welfare or something along those lines? And those are like majority white states, like way majority white states. If it's not West Virginia, I know West Virginia is like top 5 states, and the West Virginia is what, like 90 what percent white, something insane. It's like some 80, 90 something percent white, like insane. Excuse me, insane, right? But you let black women tell it, black men are bums. Indigo Flow says, shout out to Appalachia. You see, they don't even know that's a thing. Like Ashley Acuna said when the whole um Tiki Torch, you will not replace us, Jews will not replace us thing happened. Ashley Acuna from the Grapevine, that was the host of the Grapevine, um, Chocolate Sister with the dreads. She was taken aback by the white. Oh my God, the white guys. I'm like, first of all, okay, white guys you find attractive, probably. But secondly, what you thought? Oh, you thought it was just their fathers? Oh, you thought the young white dudes with the comb over hairstyle? What they call it's pompa something, right? What you thought white guys that are dressed like that, and because they're what, under the age of 30, maybe even under the age of 25, you thought that they weren't anti-black and anti-Semitic? Why? Oh, because you stay in that bubble up there in New York, up there in the Northeast. Oh, okay. And you definitely didn't think they were that racist to show their face and march in the streets. You didn't think they were such people as Nick Fuentes? Uh-oh. Pompadour. Okay, better you. Thank you. I thought it, but I didn't say it. Right? Thank you. So yeah. Exactly, Trail Billy. And Trail Billy says it was just the crazy uncle who gets drunk during Thanksgiving and says the N-word. As if the whole family doesn't say it. I would like to direct y'all to Dog the Bounty Hunter. His own son exposed him. For those of you that don't remember the story, Dog the Bounty Hunter's son was dealing with a white girl, and then you hear the tape of Dog the Bounty Hunter. I don't want her to feel a certain way because we throw in the N word around here, but we don't really mean anything by it. And da, 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 da. I don't want her to think we're racist, even though we're racist. We don't really mean anything by the N word, even though we use it. While they mock you for costing the country $50 billion because this nation would rather spend $50 billion locking you up and moving you out the way so they can employ um the South Asian immigrant in the tech field, in the STEM field. They want to move you out the way to put white women in the way. Ooh. So they're spending $50 billion locking you up so that white women could have the position that would probably go to black men. And meanwhile, black women are going to sleep watching Lifetime movies and have the remote in one hand, the toy on the counter, and ice cream in the other hand, a bowl of ice cream in the other hand, sleeping alone, single, lonely, miserable, and refuse to put two and two together. Dear black women, you should be fussing out your mothers, but you don't got the ovaries. Your mothers didn't fight for your brothers. Your mothers didn't fight for your future husbands. Right? So on that note, right? Shout out to Tone Talks for this. I think this was a great stream. I encourage everyone to watch it. The link will be in the description in a couple minutes. The link is in the description for my previous video last night. So I'll put the link in the description for this also. Thank y'all for listening in. Let me move out of Dr. Thunder's way. The Roger Report will be streaming at 10. Shout out to the Roger Report. And yeah. And Paradox, we still got to do that car stream. Hit me up in email. My email is in the description. Right. So, yeah, that part. Wow. Detroit said, I saw and heard of these women are listening to Cynthia G when I walked past by a few minutes ago. I told y'all to be listening to them in their headphones. I said it. Right. I said it. So on that note, we'll truly pause right here. Y'all have a great, great, great rest of y'all day. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. Thank you, Spain Man, for the super sticker. Right? Thank you, Spain Man, for the super sticker. And shout out to all of you for listening in. Shout out to Tone Talks for the stream. It's this does affect the black community and our perceptions of one another. But definitely, if this is where black women are coming from, then so be it. You get what you get. If you want to be delusional, there's a cost to that. For the young lady on TikTok, the black young lady who said, who's being delusional hurting? Yourself, but black men also. Until they remove themselves from the situation, then it just hurts you and other black women. Right? And on that note, we will truly pause right there. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. And we'll truly pause right there. Y'all have a great, great, great rest of the day. All right, Mr. Z out.